Hi, welcome to Rock and Metal Invasion. My name is Steve. Coming up on the show today, I'm doing hard rock and heavy metal compilation cover art. Basically, I'm going to show you some compilations that I've got in my collection, all vinyl records, and they're mainly hard rock, heavy metal compilations from the 80s. And just going to comment a little bit about the cover art because it's kind of an interesting idea, isn't it? Where you've got these compilations, so it's various artists are on the record, and so the art can really be whatever they want it to be. And there's some quite interesting cover art. Some of it's good, some of it not so good. I'm going to just basically give you my opinion on some of the ones I like, some of the ones I don't like. And I've also broken the covers or the compilations down into categories a little bit as well, because the compilations, especially back in the 80s, they were really used, I think, a lot of the time as a way to publicize maybe labels or bands, sort of like a sampler, as a mixtape kind of thing. And I used to love them, back in the day, because rather than go off and buy a whole album, I could just buy one album, have various artists on it, and then that would help me figure out, the group that I did actually want to then go and spend money on and buy their album. So I mean, it's not like today where you've got, the internet and you can just stream anything and check it all out before you go and pay for it. So it was quite handy for that. But actually, these days I actually really love having a good compilation record to play, because often a lot of them, it's all color, no fillers sort of thing. It's like all the best songs, or a lot of the best songs from different artists. And it's kind of interesting too, hearing these songs in different order with different songs playing after the song that you're used to hearing. So I quite enjoy it. So I've actually got a pretty good collection of compilation records. I'm not going to show them all, but like I said, I've broken them down into categories. And let's get into it. I thought I'd start with the positive. So I start with the compilation cover art that I really like. So let's get into those. So the first one, and this is kind of cool because it's this is a New Zealand record. So this came out only in New Zealand, from what I know, and I think it's got a fantastic cover art. So it's called Headbanger. Here it is here. Really cool art, and it's got on the cover, warning, recorded at volume plus, and it contains unreleased AC/DC track. Not completely unreleased, but it's got the AC/DC song. I think it wasn't on the album that was released at the time. So it's got Cold Hearted Man, but yeah, it is not officially unreleased, but perhaps for some people it is. And yeah, it's the cover out of the back. It's got artists like Deep Purple, Whitesnake, Quiet Riot, sort of early 80s compilation. Play This Mother Loud, it says down here. So, and the cover art's by a guy called Simon Clark. Anyway, Simon, you did a great job. Well done. Yeah, I really like that one. And this one is another, not New Zealand only. Now, you can also get, I'm pretty sure there's an Australian version of this as well, but it looks identical. And in fact, I've got another couple of records which fit this sort of category also. So, and the record it's just called Heavy. It's just called Heavy. It's just like that. But I just love its simplicity. Just black with the sort of silver kind of heavy and the lightning bolt kind of stuff going down there. It's got a wide selection of artists, a lot of hard rock artists, Van Halen, even going back to Jimi Hendrix, Cream, Derek and the Dominos. So it goes over quite a long period of time. It's released on KTEL. And like I said, there's a now actually this is the Australian version. So here we go. It's interesting. So I've actually got the Australian version, but there's a New Zealand version that looks just like this, but it has slightly different artists on it. It's just slightly different. So, for example, I know this was the Australian one because it's got the artist Great Dane on it. And Great Dane, I think it's an Australian artist. It's definitely not on the New Zealand one. But so there's two different kind of versions. Got slightly different songs on each one, and I've got a couple of other examples of that coming up. But I love the cover art. I think it's really cool. I also like this one. This is now that's what I call metal. So this one, of course, is a sort of a parody of, that's what I call music, that sort of hits compilation thing that came out in the 80s, that was all just the pop music kind of stuff. But this has got, King Diamond, Annihilator, Crimson Glory, Phantom Blue, quite a few quite heavy bands. It's I guess it's a Roadrunner release, but I thought that was quite cool cover art. There's the bands that are on the record there. Now I remember seeing this one as a kid, and I don't think I ever picked it up actually as a kid, but I remember looking at it and thinking, this looks pretty cool. And it's called Giants of Steel, and it's got Lips from Anvil. I didn't know who this guy was at the time when I saw it, but I remember thinking, I don't know, something about him. It was pretty cool. So sort of real sort of mid '80s hard rock heavy metal compilation. Quite a good selection of artists because it's interesting too. It came out on Roadrunner, but it's got Dio on it. It's got Judas Priest, Screaming for Vengeance. Motorhead, Venom, Black Sabbath. Got some big names. It's a good compilation. So I like that one. I like the cover art. Now this one, I actually got had this on video first. So the compilation came out on record and also on video, and I got the video first, but also got the records. So this is a double LP, and it's Kerrang compilation. I just love the cover art. I mean, as a kid, I was like looking at this quite a bit. Done by Derek Riggs, actually. So he did the illustrations. Really cool stuff. And it's got some pictures of the bands. Obviously, quite a lot of music on this one because it's a 2 LP. And good stuff too. Really good wide selection. Like I said, I saw the video first for this and just loved it because it was really hard for me here in New Zealand to see a lot of those music videos. So it was so great to be able to just have it on cassette, on videotape, and just be able to watch them whenever I wanted. But I love the art on that one. So that's the ones I really love. And there's other ones coming up that I also really like. In fact, I'll show another one I really like. I like this one. This is not an exclusive exclusive to New Zealand. This is again another example of it was released in New Zealand. The same cover art, but it had different track listings. So this is called Masters of Metal. Now this is the New Zealand version, but there's also I think a UK version called Masters of Metal, and it's got quite a different track listing. Like it's quite different. There's a few double ups perhaps. There might be some things on here that are also on the UK one, but not many. It's actually quite different. So it says free patch included. So you got like a patch with this. It doesn't have the patch unfortunately anymore. But one thing that's interesting about this, it's got a New Zealand band on it called Nightshade, which is a great New Zealand band from the hard rock band from the 80s. So they're on here. But I mean, like I say, there's another record, and it's called exactly this, Masters of Metal. And it has quite a different track listing. But you can see some big names here, Motley Crue, Ozzy Osbourne. But I love the cover. I love this guy. I think he looks super, super cool. I think it's great art, and I don't know if it says who did the artwork, but I think it's pretty good. So I like the artwork and I like the record. That's pretty good. I might have to get the other Masters of Metal as well. Now this is another example too, where it's the same cover art but completely different music. So this is called That's Heavy. Now, if you're looking at this and thinking that looks familiar, maybe you've got a compilation album called Kilowatts. It's called That's Heavy. So they've actually kept the cover up, but they've changed the title, and it's got different bands on it. So I think Kilowatts came out like 1980, something like that, and it's a 2 LP, and it's hard rock bands, but for whatever reason they then used the same cover again, but they called it That's Heavy, and this one's just 1 LP. But I like this one. It's got Michael Bolton, when he was sort of doing the hard rock stuff, Fastway, Judas Priest, Rock Goddess, Quite Right. Yeah, some good stuff on here. But I just thought quite interesting that sometimes with these hard rock or metal compilations, they recycled the cover art because it was released in different countries, I guess. There we go. So next sort of section I'm going to show is sort of like cartoon art. So that was kind of popular too with the hard rock and metal compilations, that they would sort of just get an artist to draw something on the cover that sort of, I guess, looked looked heavy or hard rock sort of. But yeah, so this one here, heavy hammer hits, sort of a bit sci-fi as well, I guess, with this sort of, and there's a bit of this. There's this one, and this next one looks kind of similar too. I don't know if it's the same artist or not. This is Hard and Heavy, and then there's Hard and Heavy Volume 2. I'm pretty sure all done by the same artist. Good compilations. In fact, these are really good because it's 2 LPs, so a lot of music. I enjoy playing those. Now I'm getting into more fantasy kind of stuff. This is the New Gladiators Hard Rock Compilation. Includes New Gladiators poster, so that would be pretty cool, unfortunately. Mine does not have the poster, I'm pretty sure, yeah. But some good ones on this. But yeah, so there's that. And I guess I'll count this one as sort of cartoon kind of art, I guess. This is Bailey Brothers, the Vinyl Frontier. I think the Bailey Brothers were presenters on like a Metal Hammer TV show in the UK, and they're talking at the back about how they're going to use this compilation to promote bands from the UK. Although actually most of the bands, some of the bands on here aren't even from the UK. So they've got bands from, it says here, Germany and Finland, but yeah, also some from the UK as well. And yeah, it's one of those ones where they're planning on, they say at the back, they're planning on, this is the first in a series, but they never really eventuated. But yeah, so bands on here: Cougar, Voyager UK, The Alliance, Lars Erik Madsen, and Faithful Breath. Some of those I know about and have heard, but yeah. All right. Next section is basically where it's a compilation where it's gone to more than one volume. So there's actually a volume 2. I've got a couple of those. So this one here, this is just called Hard. This must be quite early 80s, I'd say. Maybe might even be 1981, 80, even 80. I'm not sure. Looking at I'd say maybe 81. Looking at the bands and the artists on here. So it's got Kicks, Blackfoot, a couple of Blackfoot, Riot, early Riot, Rose Tattoo, a couple from them. So anyway, yeah, Hard. I don't mind the cover art actually; it's pretty good. I think you get the idea. But then when they go to Hard 2, I'm not so sure about the cover art. So they I'm not sure about this one. So this must have come out a year or two after the first one. We've got the guy playing guitar there, but I'm not really quite sure if they need the lady there. But anyway, he's got all his patches on of all the bands. It's pretty cool. But yeah, so there we go. So that was 2-part series for that compilation. And here's another one. I've showed this before on my channel, I think. But I really like these ones. They're pretty cool. So this is Metal Queens, Woman in Rock. I'm not sure about the cover. I'm not sure really. It's just sort of supposed to be female fronted. I think they could maybe come up with something a little bit more interesting than that. But anyway, she's leaving a club or something. Yeah, but yeah, lots of good female-fronted artists on that one. And then I think it might even be the same lady, but this time she's sitting on a car. I'm quite sure. Really? Oh, I guess this is Woman in Love. So it's on this one. The previous one was Woman in Rock. This is Woman in Love. Yeah, so there's actually more ballads on this one. But yeah, not probably quite as good this one as the first one. But it says also available on VHS video, so you can get the videos for that as well. That's pretty cool. Yeah. So there we go. So that's that one done. Now next lot I'm going to show where sort of record companies would put out compilations to advertise the artists on their label. So this was a popular way of sort of getting people to know about their bands. And some of the cover art's not great. Some of it's pretty good though. In the not great category, I'm going to count this one here. This is called Iron Brew, the Legacy GWR Sampler Volume 1. Pretty sure there wasn't a Volume 2. But I mean, there's some good bands on here. You've got Motorhead, Hawkwind, Fastway, Uriah Heep, Thunderhead, but cover art is not the best, is it? Iron Brew, yeah, it's like some old train, but then there's like nothing pretty much on the back. But it's just to serve a purpose, basically trying to promote the bands, I guess. This one's much better. Again, we're going back to that sort of cartoon sort of art, but it looks pretty cool actually. This is Music for Nations, so they're a very well-known label from the 80s for hard rock and metal. And this is Nightmare on Carnaby Street. And yes, it's a 2 LP, this one. Lots of great bands on here. Yeah, the back cover's not so interesting, but yeah, pretty cool on the front. And of course, the back cover's just telling you about the bands. And it's a gatefold as well, so when you open it up, and that's what I always like too, if you know, and this one doesn't, but some of these compilations, they then give you information about the bands, give you some history about the bands. So it's almost like a little, you know, mini magazine as well as music. But you do have all the album covers of all of the bands featured, so that's pretty cool. So there's that one. So that was Music for Nations. Now this one here, this is Mausoleum. So Mausoleum put out a compilation. It's called Metal Over America. Not sure why they're focusing on America. Maybe this was only released in America. I'm not sure. Yeah, a lot of bands I've heard of, but don't necessarily have in my collection. Definitely got Black Lace. Two Time I've heard of. Some of the other ones I haven't. But yeah, there they are. There, Takashi. Yeah, I don't know about them. But yeah, there's Black Lace. Know them. But yeah, so that's and the cover art. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay, I guess. Not so great, I don't think. This one. This is A Bolt from the Black. Now this is basically a Thunderbolt Records sampler. So they had some good bands actually. So I guess the Thunderstick is kind of one of the big ones. Although interesting, it's got Jimmy Page on here. Is that the Jimmy Page? Seems unusual, but maybe. I don't actually know. Seducer. It just seems unusual. It's Samson. Yeah, I guess it probably is. I mean, I don't know. Heretic. Yeah, I haven't really played this much, if at all. But yeah, it's not the greatest cover art, but you get the idea, I guess. It's I mean, it's not the greatest, is it? They could have got some better art than this, perhaps. But it gives you the idea of that it's probably going to be something heavy, you know, with the guitar and stuff. But they just repeat it on the bag. Yeah, but the Jimmy Page thing is a bit of a mystery to me. I'll have to check that out later. All right, next one, FM Records. So I quite like this label. They're a bit hit and miss. Granted, you know, some of it is a bit soft or just not perhaps that great, but they did have some good bands like Magnum, White Sister. They're pretty good. Joshua. Yeah, this is a 1986 compilation. The artwork's not the greatest. Basically, it's just the label logo. Yeah, FM. But actually, pretty good, interesting label to check out. And this is a similar thing. So this is called Hot Night in the City. It's sort of AOR hard rock. Quite a well-known compilation. Pretty easy to get. But yeah, again, it's FM Records. I assume that these all came out on FM Records, although I'm not sure. But quite a few bands that honestly I really have never heard of before. Yeah, but some good stuff. I've played it, and there's some good music on here. Yeah. So next up, this is Christian metal. So this is heavy righteous metal. It's called, and this is pure metal. So pure metal label. They put out a lot of Christian metal in the 80s. There's some really good stuff on here too. So yeah, don't know about the cover art, but you know, it is what it is, I guess. Now Def Jam, Def American. I think it's known as sort of Def American here. So this is Till Death Us Do Part, and that's Rick Rubin there on the cover. And yeah, I mean, they just late 80s, early 90s, they had a great roster. I mean, yeah, Danzig, Black Crows, Wolfsbane, yeah, really good stuff. Slayer. So this is an awesome compilation. I don't think there's anything exclusive on here, but yeah, I mean, just shows the quality of the label at this particular time when you look at the artists that they had. So yeah, Four Horsemen, really good stuff on there. This one, yeah, the cover art's not the greatest. It's called Heavy Metal Machine, Pull 1. I guess it's like Volume 1. I don't think there's a Pull 2. Heavy metal, light price, yeah. So there's a hype sticker there, and basically all of these bands. Look at the back. All of these bands are pretty much either on the Medusa label or on Enigma Records. I think that's kind of the tie-in there. So all of these bands, yeah, either Enigma or Medusa Records. Yeah, Montrose, some quite well-known bands. So Hurricane, Wild Dogs, Obsession. That's pretty good. Now this is a UK label, and they've actually got some good bands and put out some good albums in the 80s. This is called Megalomania and Power Station. So it's like so this is basically Power Station Records, and it's just a compilation of some of the artists that they had on their label. Some really good, some good stuff on here, and actually some of them, it says here, contains previously unreleased tracks. So yeah, some unreleased tracks on here as well. So that's always good when you get a compilation. Is you might already have the album, but so this has got tracks that weren't on the album. Paul Diano's Battle Zone's on here. Maniacs. Who else? Chrome Molly. There's a few kind of well known. Tokyo Blade. They're on here. So yeah. Here's another. Now this is another Music for Nations one, but I thought I'd show it because I quite like the cover art on this one. It was pretty good. It's called Hell on Earth. Let's look at some really good 80s metal bands on there. Metallica, Merciful Fate, Battle Axe, Rat is even on there, right? So this is like, I guess, before when they were on Music for Nations and hooked up with Atlantic. But Sweet Cheetah is on here. That's from their EP. So that's the thing, bands like Rat were in with bands like Metallica and Manowar. And this one coming up here, this is called Power Chords Volume 1. Again, I'm pretty sure there was not a Volume 2. I don't know why they did that Volume 1 thing. I guess they were anticipating to do more, but yeah, it didn't happen. Basically, this is a promotional thing or compilation, but of bands who are either on the Atlantic label or on Megaforce. Quite a few Megaforce, I think, on here. But yeah, you've got your Kicks and Anthrax and Malice. Some quite heavy bands. Cover art, I really don't get it. It's I think it's someone playing the guitar. It's very close up though and all blurry. Yeah, it's not the best. And then just finally to finish up with on the promotional things, where they're trying to promote either a label or certain bands. This is not a label so much, but this is an album where they're trying to promote UK bands. It's called The Kingdom of Rock, and a lot of these bands are quite unknown sort of UK bands or fairly under the sort of radar, I guess. You got Wolfsbane on there though. You got Thunder, The Almighty. So there's a bit there, but it's a real promotion for UK bands. I think this was the idea. Pretty good. That's came out actually in 1992. So yeah, not easy sometimes to get records from 1992 on vinyl. And here's another one. So this is Metal Hammer's Best of British Steel. So again, just another promotion for UK bands. And some good, it's a bit hit and miss, obviously, but there's some good stuff on here. I like there's a track on here. Yeah, Midnight Blue, Surrender. Check that one out. That's really good. I like that one. It's a bit of an obscure one, but I like it. Of course, you got your Tiger's Tails. UK hard rock, metal, it wasn't doing so great, was it, in the late 80s, early 90s? It was really the hair metal bands were all pretty much from the US, and they were the ones sort of hitting the charts the most. A lot of these bands were trying to do it, but it just wasn't happening. Wrathchild. Not really any bands that really sort of made it big time on that I can see on here. Yeah, you got your Lisa Dominique though. All right. Next section. Well, like I said, I've put them into different sort of sections. We're going to go with the hard rock ballad compilation. So these were kind of popular once the power ballads were starting to hit the charts quite a bit. I guess record companies thought, hey, let's put out compilations of just like power ballads. So this is called Absolute Power Ballads. So basically, this is just a record full of power ballads. I don't mind the art. I think it's kind of gives you the idea that it's well, I don't know what it's giving you the idea of actually, but at least it's got the power ballads in the title, so you kind of know what it's about. And then if you look on the back, you got Scorpions, Skid Row, Poison, Damn Yankees, the song High Enough, all the White Snake Is This Love, Bon Jovi, Wanted Dead or Alive. So I mean, big names on this one. So all the big hits really, and then it must have done all right because then they came out with another one called More Power Ballads. Again, similar sort of art. There's a guy there. I'm not quite sure what he's up to, but yeah. And you got to sort of turn it around like this to see the titles again. You got big names: Motley Crue, Scorpions, Ozzy Osbourne, even Led Zeppelin, Stairway to Heaven's on here. So yeah. And then finally, actually I got two more. Romantic rock ballads. A lot of bands that aren't really, I guess, they're not that heavy, a lot of them, but some of them, there's Dio on here, there's TNT, but then you've also got Berlin. But yeah, it's the cover art's not the greatest. But it's just got pictures of the bands, and then otherwise it's pretty much nothing on there. But it's going to show how sort of popular the sort of power ballad compilation things were. And then finally, and actually this is volume 2, so this is Metal Ballads, volume 2. Just cover art, it's not great. And it actually goes all the way up to volume 4, but I've only got volume 2. And you can see the back, very similar to what I showed you before, where I had the Metal Queen. So it's the same, very similar. If I can just find the Metal Queens one, where is it? I put it away. Oh, here it is. So yeah, you can see it's sort of similar, sort of the way they've done the ballads and the Queens must be sort of done by a similar company. Yeah, well, it's got Metal Hammer, so it's Metal Hammer have had something to do with it, but yeah, you can sort of see it's kind of similar. And yeah, so there's, if you think this cover art's bad, you should see, you can't probably really see it there, but the volume 1 is probably even worse. But like I say, it goes all the way up to volume 4, and they all kind of look like this. I'm wondering actually if this will lead on nicely to my next sort of section. Which is just the not so good cover art, which I guess this also qualifies for. But metal guitars, similar sort of thing, just the guitar. I mean, not very interesting. If you like instrumentals though, this is a pretty good compilation to get. This is a good compilation actually. This is called Strictly for Connoisseurs, Music for Nations. But it's just got like a American flag, Canadian flag on the back. I'm not sure why, except my guess is all the artists. I'm probably right. Looking at the names of the bands, all the artists are either American or Canadian. But actually, this is kind of cool to have because it does have some obscure stuff on here. It's kind of another tie-in with not so much Metal Hammers, would be more like Kerrang magazine, I think, but and it's got inside a bit of a write-up about all the bands, because some of the bands this came out, I think, I don't know, early 80s, I'm not exactly sure, but all these bands are sort of more early 80s, really like 1980s to late 70s kind of bands, and basically bands that were sort of promoted as being really good bands that no one sort of knew about or found out about at the time, sort of lost classics sort of thing. So and there are some really good stuff on here, some good stuff on good songs. So it's a 2 LP, but cover art's not the greatest. I'm just going to show you some ones. It's a pretty random selection here, but where I just not a big fan of the cover art. Time to Rock, good compilation, because it's actually got Shadows of Your Love by Guns N' Roses live on it. So that's sort of a bit of an exclusive. It might be on one of their EPs, I guess. It's got a few exclusive things on here, but also some big names. Faster Pussycat, Manowar, Metal Church, that sort of stuff. This is just a live compilation. Again, pretty interesting actually, because all these songs are live, so that's kind of cool. So a lot of these, I guess, would be exclusive to this release because you got Iron Maiden, Whitesnake, Wasp, Scorpions, Great White, Saxon. It might have been on, I don't know, it might have been on some of their live albums, or might have been on, B sides to singles or whatever. But yeah, it doesn't actually say where these songs were recorded or anything or released. It's a bit of a write up about the songs there, but yeah, it says compiled and researched by Mick Wall. But yeah, pretty basic cover art. Came out in '91, this one. So yeah, on Music for Pleasure. Yeah, I think this one's pretty basic. This is just hard and heavy super festival. I mean, I don't exactly know what the idea of it is. Some good songs on here, but cover art's not the greatest. I guess you get the idea. It's probably a hard rock or heavy metal band because it does say hard and heavy. But yeah. And this one, Hammer Rocks, it's just got this statue of Liberty, and I don't know, it's got a hammer in the hand, but otherwise there's not really a lot going on there. Again, though, good compilation because it does have some unreleased songs. So it's got a Johnny Crash song that wasn't on the album, so I always thought that was worth having for that, as well as a song from the album. Yeah, Love Hate, Tinseltown, previously unreleased. But yeah, Prong, Third from the Sun, previously unreleased. I think some of these have since been released, of course, but at the time. Oh, and there's even a video for it. So yeah, again, one of those ones where they also released a video for it. So and that definitely was the case with some of these compilations. They also had videos for them, but yeah, often I never got a chance to see the video. But yeah, that would be pretty good. Pretty good to have a video for those. But yeah, the cover art's not the greatest. I don't know what's going on here. This is called Heavy Dancing. You don't really sort of associate dancing with hard rock or heavy metal, but actually this is I guess there's a lot of funk metal. If you look at the bands on here, it's when funk metal was kind of starting to become a bit popular. So I think this is 1991. So you've got Faith No More on here with Epic. You've got Dan Reed Network. You've got Extreme, Get the Funk Out. But you've also got David Lee Roth and Yankee Rose, and Youth Gone Wild by Skid Row. You've got Run DMC, Walk This Way. So yeah, I guess, dancing. Yeah, you could dance to it, I guess. But yeah, the cover art's not the greatest. This one here, Heavy Metal Monster Festival. This cover art is actually taken from a Warlock single and or EP. Not the greatest artwork, really. And but yeah, some good bands on, but pretty basic. And this one here, A New Generation of Rock, young, hard, and heavy. But I mean, it's just a crowd shot. Nothing really interesting there. It does have some promotions about the bands and the albums on the back, and some good ones. I mean, you got Badlands here, you got Skid Row, Mr. Big. I guess this is a Atlantic release, so I'm pretty sure all of these bands were on the Atlantic label. Yeah, it would appear that way anyway. Yeah, so you can see they were releasing a lot of stuff at the time, a lot of hard rock bands, heavy metal bands. Thought I'd show this one. It's not the greatest cover, is it? It's not the most exciting, but also, and I've mentioned this before, it's not a compilation album, it's a Complication album. So this is Heavy Metal Records Canada. And there's another one like this, which is Heavy Metal Records, but it's not the Canadian one. But it features almost exactly the same artist, but slightly different songs. It looks very much like this, but yeah, it doesn't say Complication album. This one I chose because I just thought it's so difficult to know what kind of music is on here. Rock the Night. Okay, so it's called Rock Classics. And I guess you know it's rock, but when you look at the back, it's pretty varied. Like it's got like the band TKO on here. You've got Motorhead on here, but then you've also got REO Speedwagon. So in Berlin. So quite a wide range. You've got Vengeance on here. You've got Accept on here. So I guess it's, and it's 2 LP. It's not a bad compilation, especially if you like a good mix of sort of hard rock all the way through to sort of, heavy metal, or rock all the way through to heavy metal. But yeah, not the greatest cover art, but yeah. And then the last one of the ones that I don't think have great cover art. This is just called Rock Tracks. Not very imaginative, is it? I think this might be Greek pressing, but yeah, not very not much work being put into the artwork here, or even coming up with a good title. Just called Rock Tracks. But I mean, look, it's got Cinderella, LA Guns, Onslaught, The Almighty, Danzig, Giant, Soraya, some awesome bands on here. I think this is on the Vertigo label, so maybe they're all associated with that label. But yeah, it is a Greek pressing, I think, so it's pretty hard to, well, not easy to find sort of thing. But there we go. So I'm almost done. I've just got one more lot to go through. I'm calling this lot the sort of the new wave of British heavy metal compilations. So Heavy Metal Heroes. Now this is actually volume 2. I don't mind the cover art. It's a bit like, what does this have to do with heavy metal? Like, but you know, it's a battleship, you know, I guess, and it's got HM Heroes on the side there. It's very hard to see that it's volume 2. I didn't actually realize it until I actually read the back, and yeah. So it's put out. It says compiled by Paul Birch. So he's kind of the guy who was running Heavy Metal Records at the time. So it's got Heavy Metal up here. So it's really another promotion for, I guess, Heavy Metal Records, but also very much a time where the new wave of British heavy metal, I guess, was popular. Looking at some of the bands here, Witchfinder General, Persian Risk. Now there's a band here called Overkill, but I'm pretty sure it's probably not the US band called Overkill. Yeah, I would be surprised. Yeah, Lionheart. Yeah, and it's got a bit of stuff written on the back here about how well Heavy Metal Records, how Heavy Metal Heroes, the first one, had done so well. But yeah, it's pretty interesting one. Don't mind the cover art. Now this is great. I mean, this is the new wave of British heavy metal compilation, 79 revisited. So this is a 2 LP, really awesome compilation, and great cover art, I think. Lots of great information on the gatefold. Lots of stuff written in here as well. And then when you actually, the inserts are also really good. Look, like it's got like write-ups and stuff like that, reviews. Yeah, so this is a really good one to have. You know, the new wave of British heavy metal, some awesome bands, but I kind of missed it at the time, so I'm sort of trying to catch up on that a little bit and finding some really good bands, you know. So yeah, so this is really interesting. So yeah, both the LPs have great inserts with information on it. It's got Lars Ulrich has written something in here, and then Jeff Barton, who's managing editor of Kerrang, he's written something down here. I think it was Jeff Barton who came up with the term new wave of British heavy metal. So yeah, so there's that one. Now this is not the greatest album cover, is it? This is Metal for Mothers Volume 2, cut loud, but yeah, not a great cover. Very simplistic, but you know, look at the bands on here. I mean, again, it's new wave of British heavy metal. Came out in 1980. A lot of these bands didn't really make it, didn't really do much. I know Trespass, they actually released an album. They made a comeback and released an album. It's pretty good too. I've enjoyed playing it. Like last year, I think it was, maybe even earlier this year. Yeah, but and then they also Trespass. I think some of the members go and form the band Blue Blood. But yeah, Dark Star, Lady of Mars. That's a good song. I know that band. But yeah, a few others I'm not so familiar with. But yeah, so that's Volume 2, not the greatest. And I just wanted to show that they're actually still putting out. You can still get compilation records. They're not anywhere near coming out as much as what they used to. But I picked this up recently. This came out in 2019, I think it is, or 2020 even. And it's just basically called the Essential New Wave of British Heavy Metal, the Best of Neat Records, because Neat were very much big part of the new wave of British heavy metal. Yeah, so it's got a whole lot of bands there, and yeah, it's a 2 LP set. Oh yeah, compiled in 2019, but yeah, released in 2020. So there we go. So that's it for today. Quite a long one. Yeah, I have got a lot of compilation records, as you can see, but I enjoy playing them. Like I say, it's just fun to put it on and just like listen to a whole wide variety of different bands. And yeah, looking at the cover art as well. Sometimes there's been some great cover art. Some not so good, but doesn't mean necessarily the music inside isn't good. But yeah, anyway, let me know about some compilation records that you enjoy. I know there's probably some other ones that I've missed that are really good, or the cover art's really great. Or the music was worth checking out. Let me know what you think. Hit that thumbs up button if you've enjoyed the video. Subscribe if you haven't, and I'll catch you later. All right, see ya.